Lion Hal goes and borrows it every once in a while.
President Cindy, fellow Lions and guests, the first is a happy dollar and a thank you dollar for all the help and support this club gave me on the effort back at LCI. We were unsuccessful, but who knows what the future may bring. The second happy dollar, I don't know if many of you know, but I was gone for 4 weeks in a row. Yeah. Let's put it like this. My grandson, in the event that he wanted to be first place in, he came in 14th at the World Rubik's Cube Championship. Okay? That was in Paris with 1,100 competitors. Yeah. So we went on to Switzerland, and he got second in the Swiss Open. And that was about 100 participants. And so he's feeling okay about the trip, but he wants to go to the next World Championships, wherever they may be. Final happy dollar, the first official job I had to do when I get back, I had to take Wendy from Millennium Old Terminals and her husband and their kids out on a sailboat ride yesterday afternoon. So hey, like it.
President Cindy, fellow Lions and guests, the Special Awards Committee met recently, and unfortunately we were unable to be here for the presentation of these awards last week. These have to do with the golf tournament. So if I could ask Mr. Pat Palmer, and Cindy Sessions to come up here. We have some special recognition for them.
It wasn't me. It wasn't.
If you've ever wondered exactly how things work at Sessions Plumbing, as have I, a lot of it became clear to me on the day of the golf tournament. This is actually an award for Jim, and I'm hoping Cindy will take it home to him. After they played the front nine, the group captained by Jim was desperately searching for the back nine on the front nine. The only good news is he thought he was on a service call and being paid for drive time. So we have an award for Jim because we know who holds it together there. Yes, it is Cindy. So we have an award for Jim for marrying well. And past President Pat chose the day to nurture his boys. Golf is a great place to teach patience, persistence, good citizenship, caring for Mother Nature, creative vocabulary skills. All those things go into and Pat was, I followed him for a bit, he was really a nurturing father. I didn't hear any 4-letter words. I heard some 16-letter words that may have had 4 syllables. I'm not sure. But it was really an awesome day, and I thought, this is completely different than I thought, because I followed Pat before, and it wasn't like that. Until I saw them on hole number 8, where Lion Sam put 32 balls in the water trying to clear it, thereby breaking Pat's record by 1. So Pat, the Father of the Year award.
In my own defense, there's one thing that the Palmers will always say about golf. 4 hours on the grass we don't have to mow, right now? All of it.
So Hal Palmer is next.
Yeah. Okay, just to answer the question up front, yes, he is the program.
No.
President Cindy, fellow Lions and guests, and after that insult from a Rotarian to a Lion, I don't think we should give him very much time at all, right? Yeah. Just so you know, Scott and I go way back as well. And if I knew he was as bad as he was, I would have gotten him into Lions. Once again, I want to thank everybody for their support. I got a couple of quick awards to give away. Mark Kelch, could you come here, please? I got to show you the quality beer mug that we got at the Lions International Convention. Is that pretty cool? That was $6 with a beer in it. It was the hottest day of the year there. Yeah, got a good deal. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So Nareesh from India is our new international president, and that's his wife, Navita. Can't do this. Yes, I can. Marilyn Patterson. She was my president, my last. So I brought you something special that probably will go around your neck or in your shadow box.
Ah.
And it was from your president, right? That's right. So that's my thank you there. And to President Cindy.
Ah.
Yes. Brought you back a little thing. And in here is a bunch of material I picked up at Lions Clubs International, including a USB drive with a lot of ideas on it.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I'll need that. Thank
Yes.
you, Pat.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
So with that, yes? Yeah. And just before I left, we adopted a bunch of new members, and I was going to bring my pins that were the MD19 pin. You were one of the new members. Who else? Raise your hand for the new members over here. Okay. Yeah, Phil, that's really good. That's really good. Yeah. Got to bring the whole bag back here. I will pass these out, after I give the mic back to whomever.
Okay, we have one more person speak. Ken, quickly. Have a speaker.
You got that, Gary? I got really hungry. There you go, senor.
President Cindy, fellow Lions and guests, real quick because I'm anxious to hear what Scotty has to say again and again. Two things coming up very quickly. Tonight's concert, Greg has already talked about. Thursday night concert will begin at 7 instead of 6. The other thing we would like to mention to everybody is a week from this coming Saturday. A very, very special program, especially for a lot of Lions Club members. We have our Relay for Life that will take place over at the Council Football Field and Stadium. We have a jug going around that contribute as much as you can. This is really an important event. And if possible, Saturday morning at 9 o'clock, if you could all show up wearing Lions yellow to support those in the procession, including some of our club members and my daughter.
President Cindy, the opening ceremony starts at 10 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. And we have a guest speaker. Kurt, would you like to introduce him?
Sure. Thank you. President Cindy, fellow Lions and guests, it gives me great pleasure to introduce today's speaker. Today's speaker is one of your Longview City Councilmen. He grew up in the San Jose Bay Area. He was involved in politics and government there. He came to Longview in 2004. He is a collateral loan broker and a low-income housing specialist. He was appointed to Longview City Council in 2015 and ran and was elected. He is married with one child, 10 years old, and would you give a warm welcome to Scott Vydra. This one, right?
Think which one's better for the camera, since I don't want to be a politician not caught on a mic. President Cindy, Lions guest, thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. Pat, is Hal still a partner in your business?
Yeah.
Print shop?
Yeah.
So the cards that you guys printed to me, it's Kiwanian, not Rotarian, so I don't want to give the Rotarians a bad name. Thank you for having me. I've lived around California. We moved up here, my wife and I, 2004. We decided to stay instead of moving back to Southern California because we love the community. It's a great community, great people around here. It's a small, friendly community. Collateral loan broker. I own the pawn shop around the corner here, Pets, Pawns, and Imports, and some rental properties. So that's the low-income housing specialist, for clarification. A couple years ago, there was an opening on the city council, and I sort of felt it was my turn to be a voice of business and reason on council. The city council, the city, is a $100 million annual budget that needs to be run like a business, and I think that we've got to remember where our revenues come from, us taxpayers, and what we spend those on. I know that I'm short on time, so I don't know if I want to just skip to questions, or do you want me to run through a couple of the top issues that seem to be on the council right now is the TBD tax. So some of you folks are starting to pay your tabs, and you're getting an extra $20 tax on there. The reason for that, or the rationale, is we are not receiving enough gasoline tax to properly maintain our roads. Our streets and roads are considered an asset. Just like your house and your roof. You're going to replace the roof on your house every 20, 30 years. Streets and roads need to be maintained every 10 to 15 years. Well, with these newer cars that get better gas mileage, people are spending less on gasoline. When we get these electric vehicles, people that drive electric vehicles are paying no gasoline tax. Gasoline tax revenue helps maintain our streets and roads. So we've come to a deficiency in maintaining our streets and roads. Thus, we've got to come up with some extra money, which means a $20 tax. The council made the decision that instead of just taking the annual amount and spending it every year, we could take half that amount and bond against it, which means that we're going to borrow against it and use half the money that we receive a year to debt service that bond. Therefore, we can pay for some programs faster and repair some of the streets faster. Now, anybody that's traveled down 15th knows that it's speed bump row. The problem is we're going to address basically from Maple, the Pizza Hut, to Hudson, which is just on the other side where Safeway is. Less than one block is going to cost $885,000 to repave. And that becomes a ridiculous number. Believe it or not, the asphalt, grinding down and replacing the asphalt is only 50% of that cost. What we run into is when a city does something, they look at it and they say, okay, what other infrastructure is in that corridor that needs to be upgraded? So now we have ADA compliant street corners, sidewalks that we have to deal with. We've got aged infrastructure for the street lights that have to be replaced. All that stuff adds up. So something that should cost $400,000 now all of a sudden balloons into $800,000. So that's sort of why things get so expensive so quickly. That's the TBD. The homeless issue. City Council recently had an ad hoc committee that addressed the homeless issue with zoning. Some people would like us to provide more and more services for homeless. Where I see it is it's not the city's role to provide services. There's a community to support, and there's other agencies, county and state government. The city's role is to provide streets, water, fire. We've addressed the homeless issue with regards to zoning. What is an appropriate location for a homeless shelter? Where can they be located with the least impact on the community? Trying to think what else would be a top issue right now. Ken, you got anything at the top of your mind that you...
Well, just the idea that we need to put them in location suit the people.
Well, okay, the water. So 8 years ago, city did the study. The Fisher's Lane was no longer a viable. It would cost $40-50 million. I think it was $50 to $60 million to rehab that facility. Plus, there was a question whether the city would obtain continual permit to draw water off the Cowits. There was a decision that was made to go out to the mint farm. The problem is the silica and the hardness of that water has created numerous problems. The city, at the most recent study, is going to address the hardness of the water with a reverse osmosis system. It's going to be about $1 million to create a reverse osmosis system for the city that'll reduce the hardness. It's not necessarily going to reduce the silica. I wasn't on council at the time, so I don't know the true belief as to why they chose the mint farm. I don't know if it's the best location, but we're invested in that location now. And the other problem is we got a loan, and I'm not certain if it's a federal or a state loan, to create a new facility, build a new facility out there. Well, it was a 1% loan. So we can go borrow money, but we're not going to be able to borrow that 1% money to change our facility. The state or the feds, whoever we got the money, deems that we have a viable water supply. So we're stuck with that facility. From a safety standpoint, they've got Sentry wells out there to make sure if a toxic that is being tested for shows up in the well, their hope is that they've got plenty of time to address whatever's showing up in that well water. Did you want to get more specific? Does that glaze over what you're thinking?
I got a question for you.
Sure.
After the mountain blew, federal defense came in. If you rebuilt that water treatment plant there, completely rebuilt it.
Okay.
And it was built in such a way the maintenance was easy. Replacement of pumps was easy.
Okay.
Why didn't the city maintain that water system and put us in a position where we had to look for another source?
So my understanding is that the sediment coming down the river kept blocking the intake, and that they, regardless of what they did, they could not reduce the sediment that was coming down the river, and it was the sediment that was tearing up the equipment.
Why are the staff that told you all this still working? I'm a guy that was there in 1980, and I know what we did. Staff screwed this up. We made one of them a city manager. It isn't right, Scott.
So I won't disagree with you. So I will say that there is one employee, give me a second, there's one employee of the city council, city manager.
That's right.
So to change an employee, it takes 4 votes to sit down and say, we don't want him anymore. We just did a city manager review, and part of that review said that we're going to come back every 6 months and do follow-up. So it's not as easy to change.
I understand that, but the council has the authority to give a city manager a directive. So you have that authority.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so did you say that you were going to spend possibly up to $1 million to fix?
To address the hardness of the water.
Why can't you take that $1 million and go back to the old plant and fix that plant?
Because going back to the old plant would be $50 million. So,
Start.
yeah, that's the numbers we're being told.
Yeah. They hired an engineer that lied to the city. That's part of the problem.
And I won't disagree with that.
Scott,
Next,
hold on.
we're here in front.
That engineer has liability.
Hal. Tom.
All I can say is that William and Leo are probably spinning in their brains.
I know the liability is
Cindy.
I got a total change of subject.
Sure.
We've had a situation here this last couple of months where there's a soup kitchen, for lack of another word, that's opened up right next to our building. No permits, no health inspections, nothing. I know my brother-in-law's called people on the city staff and they say because they're feeding the homeless that they're not going to do anything. We come to work on Mondays and it's garbage all the way around our building.
Okay.
Needles and back to our property. What can the council do about this?
Well, we can direct staff to address the issue. So certainly I'll change cards.
Thank you.
In the back?
How come we're not putting in that Randy system like the city of Kelso?
So the city of Kelso, we're back on water. City of Kelso has their RANI system on the inside of the dike. And the Army Corps of Engineers no longer allows on the inside of the dike, on the dike, or in the toe of the dike. I think they want it to be 40 feet off the toe of the dike. So that's the base of the dike, back 40 feet. Army Corps of Engineers, if you can't get their permit, you're not going to get it. So when they did the test wells for the RANI system at the sites that they thought would be viable sites, the test well sites came up with equal or higher silica than what was out at the mint farm. So if silica was the issue, and you're not going to get Cowitz, so basically what's happening is they weren't getting direct Cowitz River water out of the Ranny well where the test wells were. Army Corps of Engineers, state ecology, they've got the ability to say no.
Well, because at the time, this, Longview and everything, the Army Corps of Engineers offered to build a pipeline all the way from Capistrano to the facility out there. And my understanding is that the city said no, because we don't want to have to maintain two pump stations.
Yeah,
They wanted to take their money and put it into some type of filtration system, and that's their idea. And
Yeah.
then they went back later, after this work, and asked the Army Corps of Engineers for taking assist, and they said, no, you already got your money, live with your problem.
I've been on council 2 years. All this happened prior to me getting on council. I understand what you're saying. I've heard before that they'd like to do a pipeline. It comes down to money and the ability to spend the money. So it's how much we're willing to pay for water at this point, sir.
Yes, 40 years I owned a business in Longview, County. And if I screwed up like the city did on the water on a person's car, I had to absorb the redo of it myself. And you, as the city council, screwed the city of Longview citizens. Where is your bond to take care of it? Why shouldn't we, the taxpayers, have to put another $1 million for your guys' screw up?
Fair question, but the city is providing, according to the state and the feds, a drinkable water supply. Well, it is, in that it's got more stuff in the water that residents have not been used to, haven't had to deal with. It's an unfortunate situation, but it is the situation that we've got. So either the taxpayers are going to pay for it if we went to a more expensive system. There's not a bond that's, or an insurance company that's going to say, well, you've got a great water system.
The engineer who said to go out there is bonded. Go after it.
Yeah,
You've got a city attorney sitting up there on the commission that
I will happily give you my business card, and I will ask the question to the city attorney as to why we haven't, but I don't think that there's...
It's stupid for the citizens to pay for the
And he's-
council's screw up.
Yeah.
And he will answer your questions afterwards. I'm sorry, but because of time, we're going to have to move on a little bit here.
So,
Quickly.
I know.
I would personally like to thank Scott Vydra for coming and talking to the group. It turns out that, sometimes we need to listen with two ears and speak with one mouth. I'm going to be very blunt and just tell you, you all have a lot of good comments and suggestions. Why in the hell haven't you been at any of our meetings to talk to us about it?
It doesn't do any good.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's your opinion. Come to a meeting and find out. Thank you.
I talked to 7 city council members. Does that mean I also have to go to a meeting? The answer is wrong. It's not that answer.
Okay.
So I would like to say one closing comment. Today's election day, and you've got 3 candidates that will be on the November ballot potentially that haven't lived in this town for less than 15 years. So if you want to have a voice, if you want to be involved, you've got to participate in the process. You've got to help support candidates and ask them about their issues. Because if you don't understand what the issues are and what they're running on, you're going to get surprised. So with that...
Yeah, very good closing. Thank you, Scott. And our appreciation on that. And membership.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You get these.
You too.
Anytime.
Okay, and with that, Steve, do we have any senility?
No, we're good today.
Wow, you guys are on the ball.
He's crazy.
So in review of announcements, Greg Firth has a concert tonight, Thursday night, 6 o'clock. They bumped it back an hour, so It'll be at 6. 7. And then there's sign up over there for the cleanup on Wednesday, the popcorn on Thursday, and then cleanup on Friday, so at 9 o'clock. So Doug Harvey has a legacy on, when is that going in? Tomorrow morning at, we don't know the time. There's a sign up going around. Doug Harvey, there's a Street of Screams meeting tonight at 5 at Columbia Security. Cindy Sessions, there's a meeting tonight right after the meeting. And Genesis Memorial is Saturday the 5th at the Salvation Army at 1 o'clock. Bob Jessen reported on the ice cream machine. That was great to know that we're making money. Hal Palmer had a report on the LCI, and thanks for the gifts.